Alright guys, it is the new year. We are in 2023. Well, I am in 2023. Most of the world might not be. So if you are India or further east, then you are in 2023. Otherwise, you get the point. Anyway, so welcome to 2023. And to begin the year, we are going to recount what we had in the previous year. So what I decided to do was a top 5 games of the year video. And this is that video if it was not obvious. So yeah, I'm going to go through my top 5 games this year. And I also will have some honorable mentions. So stay tuned to the video for that. And the whole top 5 idea was suggested to me on Twitter. Actually, I put up a poll and that was the more popular one. So that's what I'm doing right now. And another thing that I want to clear up, just in case, is that you are seeing Witcher 3 play in the background, and that's only because I didn't want to put my face on this one. And that did technically come out in 2022, the next gen update. That, however, is not on the Game of the Year list. It's kind of redundant to put it on a Game of the Year list at this point. That's the only reason it's not here. Anyway, let's start with number 5. And at number 5, I have God of War. And well, not Ragnarok, not the one that came out in PS5 this year. No, I'm talking about the one that came out 4 years ago that Sony only now released on PC because they are such a consumer-friendly company. And I'm going off on a tangent, I'm not going to talk about that. But yeah, God of War released on PC this year. I mean, it was one of the best games to come out. I still feel Red Dead Redemption 2 was better than it, but yeah, it was one of the best games to come out this year. So yeah, it's on the list. But I personally, I like the story of God of War. Like the voice acting, the story writing, all of that is fantastic. But the game does have a lot of shortcomings. Shortcomings that I personally am not willing to forgive for the kind of game that it is. So that's my own personal opinion. You can rank God of War higher than me, but then again, this is my list. So that's where I'm ranking it. So moving on to number 4, we have Need for Speed Unbound. Now, I didn't really see this game ending up on a lot of lists, but it sure as hell has ended up on mine. Now, maybe it's because I am biased and Need for Speed was one of the first games that I ever played, and NFS Most Wanted to this day stands as one of my favorite games ever, if not the favorite game ever. So yeah, to say that I'm biased towards Need for Speed is an understatement. But I do genuinely feel that Unbound made a lot of improvements over NFS Heat, which in my opinion was already one of the best racing games to come out in the last decade. Like, it didn't get the support, it didn't get the help that it required. Like, EA basically abandoned it. But it was a good game, and Unbound seems like a better Heat. Now, at first I thought these anime effects and the things that are really dividing the NFS community right now, them being the anime effects, I really thought that was going to, not look good or like be really distracting. But so far, it's kind of growing on me. Like, I didn't find it to be as distracting, and I kind of found it to be a little bit cool even. So yeah, I really like the way Unbound is presenting itself. It doesn't really take itself that seriously. The story is extremely cringe. The voice acting is extremely cringy. And to all of that, I will have to say, yeah, that is a valid criticism. But also, this is Need for Speed. Like, if it's not cringy, that would be a bad thing. I want a cheesy, cringy story in Need for Speed. That's what makes Need for Speed good. Like, Most Wanted didn't exactly have a plot that would win a fucking Oscar or something. So yeah, it doesn't matter that Need for Speed has a cringy story. It always does. That's not the point. So what is really good about this game? So what's good is the improved handling mechanics, because even in Heat, there were a lot of issues in my personal opinion with the grip settings, and I personally did not enjoy drifting either in NFS Heat. So yeah, other than I liked the grip in Heat, and this just feels like it's a huge step forward for this franchise. So Unbound really has some of the best handling physics I've seen in Need for Speed since... Wow! you know what? I can go out on a limb and say it's probably one of the best handling models Need for Speed has ever had. And even if you are kind of iffy about maybe the effects and stuff, maybe wait for a sale, maybe when it's half off, buy it then, but definitely play it. I would say NFS Unbound is one of those games which you definitely should play. That doesn't mean Unbound doesn't have shortcomings. In fact, NFS Unbound has some huge shortcomings which honestly cannot be solved with patches. And I'm going to get into all of that when I actually review the game, and I am going to review the game at some point. So yeah, that's enough about NFS Unbound. That's number 4 on the list. Now at number 3, this is again one of the games which is not exactly recent. It came out first in 2020, but Sony finally released it on PC this year. It is Spider-Man Miles Morales, and also with extension to that, Spider-Man itself. So both these games, I played both of them. I am not gonna say how, but I played both of them. Now, you are free to make interpretations. But I played both of them, and honestly, they are damn good games. Like, yes, I wouldn't say they are groundbreaking in anything that they do. It's a pretty generic combat system, I would say. Like, it has some good stuff in it, but it's a pretty generic combat system. The open world events, they are pretty bog standard events. This is basically what a Ubisoft game would be if they were actually good. Which is good for me because I like Ubisoft games. This is essentially what a good Ubisoft Spider-Man game would look like. And so I love it. It's not really much of a surprise. And apart from that though, the story was really good, both for Miles Morales and the base Spider-Man game. So yeah, both the games were really cool, the environments were cool, and the biggest thing that they had was the swinging. I mean, come on, that swinging is so good. Like, I wouldn't say it requires much skill. All it requires really is just, the triggers. But it's satisfying as hell. I really love just swinging around New York. That's something I will never do. Like, both the swinging part and actually going to New York. So this is my only chance. So I really liked it. Anyway, that brings up our number 2 position. And honestly, I feel like a lot of people will be surprised by my number 2 pick. And it is Metal Hellsinger. Now, you will not be surprised with this game ending up as second on my top 5 list if you had watched my video from 2020. Because guess which game was in that list? It was Bullets Per Minute. And guess who made this one? The same people. So essentially, this game is a game where you go into hell, shoot some demons, but you do it with the rhythm of the song. And that song is a full metal song. This is Doom with rhythm in it. This game was made for me. Like, they had me in mind when they made this game. There is no way any other game was going to end up this high on the list with Metal Hellsinger releasing this year. I am sorry, but that's just not happening. Metal Hellsinger, one of the best games that I've played this year. Definitely the most fun I've had in a game this year. And it deserves its spot there. If you haven't played it, it's on Xbox Game Pass. If you have any way to access it, please play the game. It is a wonderful game. It's something that you need to experience. So please go play Metal Hellsinger. I won't even mind if you just leave the video right here and go play it. But also, the number 1 is coming up and you should play that as well. So please do watch. So now that we are at number 2, before we go into the game of the year for me, which actually is fairly obvious because you might have noticed a big game missing. And it's fairly obvious if you think about it. But I do want to go through some honorable mentions. Now, some of the honorable mentions that I wanted to give, the first and foremost, the first game I would say in the honorable mentions is Sifu. What a game that was. It honestly should have ended up somewhere on my game of the year list. But it just narrowly got edged by God of War in my opinion. It is that good. It is so good that I can genuinely say that it was competing very closely with God of War for me. It just makes you feel like a martial artist. It is so cool. Look at this hallway sequence that is playing in the background right now. This is fucking cool. And there is no other substitute for this game. And honestly, it deserves that mention again. And other than that, another game that I really wanted to mention was Evil West. Now, Evil West, a lot of people have said a lot of things about this game, and well, they have said a lot of right things. This is a genuinely good game. Evil West is something that you should genuinely try it out for yourself and play it for yourself, because it's not something groundbreaking. It won't really revolutionize the gaming industry. It's just really good at what it does. So yeah, it's on my list. And I'm going to quickly go through some of the other games that came out this year and I did enjoy. Them being Plague Tale, High on Life, Pentiment. The problem with Pentiment was it came out in November and I was playing Need for Speed, so I didn't really get the time to play it. But I only recently started playing it and I'm enjoying it so far. And we have Uncharted 4, and that's it. And okay, I guess I can say Witcher 3 because that also did came out this year, and I'm already streaming it, and I am well past. I have already found Ciri, so I'm a fair bit into the story. So yeah, those are the honorable mentions, and now we go to the game of the year for 2022. And was there ever a doubt that it was going to be Elden Ring? Like, I had my doubts because I felt like the gaming industry, with the awards and stuff, they were favoring more of a narrative experience. They maybe will not go for Elden Ring, but they did. They went for Elden Ring, and so am I. Now, just to preface this, I am not what you would say a From Software fan. Like, I'm not someone who plays all the games. I still haven't finished any of the Dark Souls games. I have played them, but I haven't finished them. The only From Software game that I did finish before this was Sekiro, and I felt like Sekiro is a wildly different game. Like, yes, it is still difficult, like there is the signature From Software experience, but I felt like it does things a lot differently. But Elden Ring, again, is something very different. And the gameplay in the background that is going on right now will show you that, yeah, I do suck at the game. But also I want to make it clear, this is just a new build that I was trying. I actually started off with the Samurai, and now I'm trying to do this hybrid magic build. I don't know where I'll go with this, but I'm trying something. So don't judge me. Or do judge me, I don't really give a shit. Well, yeah, this is a game where I could genuinely see myself progressing for once. Like, usually I would just die 2-3 times and I'm like, yeah, this is too difficult, and give up. But in Elden Ring, I don't know, something in me just wants to keep going and keep improving. And I did improve. Like, there were some encounters where I just died like 10-15 times right at the beginning, but then eventually I did get through those encounters. So yeah, I really love this game. This is, to me, one of the best games this year. But let's now talk about the negatives. This is my game of the year. So I don't think there should be any doubt that I actually do love this game. But no game is perfect. And one of the biggest problems I had with Elden Ring is the fact that its PC port is kind of crap. Like, you are seeing in the gameplay in the background right now, there are random stutters going all around. And that's something that's kind of bad in this sort of a game where you just need to be at your best to beat the game. So other than that, Elden Ring, also I had this debate online, like on Twitter basically, where everyone was like, oh no, Elden Ring's UI is so much better, the game does these things so much better, and I'm like, it is basically the same thing. I don't see Elden Ring doing anything really groundbreaking with its UI. And its UI to me is pretty crappy. Like, I have seen better presentations for games in terms of their user interface. Elden Ring doesn't have the best UI. Elden Ring will not hold your hand. And that's the beauty of it. Like, you don't want it to hold your hand. You don't want it to do all of that stuff. And figuring it out, having that extra bit of, I would say, unnecessary challenge, is not really something that turns you off the game. It's something that would have pissed me off more if the game itself was bad, but since the game is so good, it's something that I'm willing to forgive. That's my final stance on the subject. So yeah, Elden Ring is my game of the year, but guys, do let me know down in the comments below, what do you guys think? What was your game of the year? Let me know your top 5 of the year. And well, with all that, once again, welcome to 2023. We bid farewell to 2022, and I will leave you guys in peace.